It's a prototype.
I'm glad you're here. As you can see, I have a small problem. Head towards me. I'll mark the location on your map. Saiban is a quiet place. Nothing but flying platforms and ship fragments left over from an ancient invasion. Piece of metal that contains useful components and microchips. There are so many treasures here, I don't know where to start. I have no idea what the mechanoids want with this wreckage, but I would appreciate it if you reduce the number of aggressive machines on your way here. My scanners detect a heavy sector not far from you. Large ship fragments. I was just quietly digging around looking for components. Hey, I'm over here.
I'm so happy to see you alive and free. I haven't spoken to anyone since then. It's crazy what's happening in Aelinar right now. You won't believe it, but we caused a great commotion all over the city. I'm trying to keep a low profile now. I didn't respond to Marcus earlier since all of our lines are tapped. Is he okay? How's everyone else? How's Laertes? Killing 2 Stobars with 1 stone? I'm keeping away from Flavius and pretending I'm terribly busy. I'm also working on one very handy device. I happened to find Flavius's notes. Accidentally, of course. Laertes carries a particle of the ether body of the god of death Thanatos inside him, and I know how I can get it to Aelion. Not long before the Gravedigger appeared, Reapers of Death had landed somewhere around Venus. Well, the ship didn't exactly land, it was shot down by the Templars. And it wouldn't have been anything out of the ordinary. Remnants do have ships after all. There's just not a lot of them. Actually, upon further analysis, the trajectory of the crashed ship strongly hinted that it came from beyond the Celestial Fortress. No, Iana's Templars did. They keep track of these things, but of course they informed Flavius right away. He gave the order not to destroy the ship, but to force it to land so it could be inspected. So that's what the Templars did. I'm not entirely certain, but nothing, I believe. The group had to pass through Venus, and the situation there is extremely volatile. They were too late, and they found the ship completely empty. All the Reapers managed to get away. The pieces are beginning to fall into place. I'm sure of it. That's how the particle of Thanatos' ether body got to Aelion. No other ships had come from beyond the Celestial Fortress at the time. So if you find those Reapers, you'll also get closer to whoever conducted the ritual. Please, don't throw those kind words around. You really don't know what I'm working on here. Zero helped me hack into the server with Flavius' secret projects. In the past, our scientists already tried to design a device for manipulating ether bodies. We will need the equipment for the reverse ritual transfer anyway. So, once you've figured everything out, I'll be ready. Oh, you're giving me too much credit. As you can see, I had to pause my work because of the mechanoids. Since we're friends, I hope you'll help me deal with this problem.
Now you'll face the Secular Prism. It's very dangerous, so be careful, if possible. Signals. My scanner's useless now. Try to find out what it is. The source is on the platform next to the fragments, not far from you. Fragments show signs of life. Look, they're glowing. Oh no, you are not taking off before I salvage the parts I need. Reinforcements. We need to disable the transmitter. If more troops arrive, it will get really uncomfortable here on Saiban. The interference is gone, but we have an uninvited guest. The Talisman Series Secular is not far from you. To get all the parts that I need. Go to Venice. You need to find the Reapers that brought the particle of Thanatos' ether body to Aelinar. I sent you the coordinates of the Reaper ship. Let's take a closer look.
The city is under siege. Verge have blocked the main road. We managed to get to the civilians, and now we're waiting on reinforcements.
scan the ship. I want to take ether readings. They will help me identify the Reapers that disembarked from the ship. I don't know where we should look for the Reapers, but we're in luck. Flavius is in Venice right now. He announced the hunting season on the Reapers. He needs them for his experiment. Get to the Templars' camp and take part in it. Special device. It's a portable teleporter. Once you capture a Reaper, use the device and it will teleport you straight to Flavius.
They attacked suddenly. Many died in the first wave. We didn't know where to run.
I looked through the Templars' reports. They spotted a group of Reapers nearby. I'll mark it on your map. It's not the right Reaper. The ether trace is different.
Glory to the name of the god.
Yes, that's him. A complete match to the ether field indicators.
Numbered.
Use the device before he realizes what's going on and kills himself.
Greetings! Oh my, what a fine specimen that is. We won't be going far, and I have everything I need with me. And so, this fantastic experiment is going to conclude with us being the first in history to get inside the mind of an alien. You know, it's considered a tremendous honor to be a part of this study. We'll have to apply ourselves in order to extract information from its mind. And now, let's prepare for this great moment. Oh wow, it worked! We are inside of its mind. Unbelievable! What irony. The memories that he is trying the hardest to hide from us are going to be the most noticeable. I bet you're probably wondering why you are here. Well, the willpower of the Reaper has not yet been crushed. The projection of his consciousness will try to resist us, and we will need to defeat it in order to hear and see what the Reaper has heard and seen.
ship lands, the one from Aelinar will come aboard and take the cargo. We are ordered not to touch him. This is the will of Thanatos.
Yes, Commander.
An Aelionian is working with the enemy? Interesting. Well, whoever said my research was useless, this information could be of critical importance. What's that? Yet another memory?
I have to speak speak with your commander.
Are you not afraid to die, woman?
I've already walked that road.
But that is Herida. What is she doing there? We have to tell Iana everything. Unbelievable. Iana and Herida. But how come? Well, if I hadn't seen Herida secretly meet the Reapers of Death with my very own eyes... Yes, I understand your desire to keep everything quiet, but I believe there's someone we should confide all this to. Don't worry. Iana and Herida won't hear a thing. Not from me, not from him. It's Matarchus, and he has been observing things in a rather distracted manner. Well, I know some, but not about that. Matarchus is a strong mage, living among the mortals. Magic is quite commonplace in Aelion, but strong mages are rare. And if you live among the mortals, you'll have to hide and conceal your powers. Otherwise, there'll be crowds around, crowds and talking, and it's all so distracting. Well, some people enjoy it, but not Matarchus. I have no idea where he is now. Try talking to Asterius. I believe they still keep in touch.
So much! Let's meet in the park and discuss this. I have some important news, too.
Herida met with the Reapers of Death. If I'd heard that from anyone else, I would have never believed it. She's so kind and caring. Yes, you're right. But Herida? It would be easier to believe that Iana betrayed Aelion. She's so harsh and arrogant. I think she's capable of it. Yes, I did. It's about the shuttle that crashed in Venus. I was telling Thies about our progress and brought it up. And Thies noted that if they had a particle of Thanatos' ether body on board, they would have had to bring special equipment for the ritual. I thought so too. So I talked to this Templar I know and learned that the ship hadn't been entirely empty when they found it. There was a box inside, a fairly large one. Since the thing is from space, it's probably Flavius's area of expertise. That's why they handed it over to him. Of course you would. So while you're out looking for the wisest god on Aelion, I'll try to learn as much as I can about this mysterious cargo. Let me think. I think Metarchus is the oldest god of Aelion. Either he or Asterius. I'm not really sure who is the oldest. Metarchus is called the god of magic, or the wanderer god. He is always traveling, looking for places of power, studying ether streams. So he's the first to notice if anything goes wrong on Aelion. He is very wise, and everyone listens to him, even Ayana. And if Harita can betray our world, Metarchus will tell you about it. No, I have no idea. Sorry. But I agree with Flavius. Asterius is a close friend of his. He can probably give you a clue.
Yesterday, a friend of mine told me that a massive attack against the mechanoids was being planned.
You can obtain additional resources in the market.
Metarchus? Of course, that name is familiar to me. Why, if there's anyone who can appreciate a good discussion. He's helped me with my historical research more than a few times. However, you won't find him here these days. Metarchus has his own path. He spends a lot of time among the mortals, teaching them magic. But it's not often that immortals come asking about him. Perhaps, though, I could help you. Why go to the trouble of searching for him? Oh well, it's your decision. Let me think. I have no knowledge of his current whereabouts. But I do happen to know where you can find his apprentices. A place permeated with ancient magic, and obviously quite appealing to mages. Try finding one of them on the island, and ask them about their mentor. That appears to be the easiest way to find Metarchus.
Syblian Heights. Isn't it an abandoned test area? I hope Metarchus' students are easier to find than Metarchus himself.
Technologies for the defenders of Aelion. Go on, take them. It's part of my friendly assistance program.
energy spike on one of the lower pads. Find out what's there.
technologies for the defenders of Aelion. Go on, take them. It's part of my friendly assistance program. packages for the defenders of Aelion. Go on, take them.
Forgive my apprentices. They worry too much for my mental well-being. We could have met right away, but instead you had to run back and forth. You must have a substantial reason to be here. What is it again? Remind me. My. That's certainly peculiar. Well then, let's try to figure out what's going on here. And don't you worry, I'm good at keeping secrets. Yeah, this is as I expected. Why don't we start with Herida? This kind goddess is completely devoted to Aelion, as well as its residents. She is not like, say, Nerion. That is why the evil could never take root in her. For her to suddenly decide to betray this world? I find it hard to believe. Nevertheless, I would still like to understand the reason for these actions. I don't know. I'm not sure about her. The desire for vengeance is still strong in Iana, and oftentimes vengeance is based on hatred. Of course, it would be premature of somebody to simply suspect Iana the Protector of any treachery. Perhaps this is part of some plan of hers. A complicated plan where to the observer she seemingly helps the enemy, but only so she could get close enough to deliver an unsuspecting fatal blow? Who knows? Who knows? But our enemy is smart, so at this point it is hard to determine who will emerge the victor. What can you really do? Follow along the best you can and intervene if it seems necessary. Right now, the situation is unclear. There are too many mysteries, but it doesn't appear to be too dangerous. I remember times that were much more sinister and frightening. The advice to wait before jumping in worked rather well back then, so it should work again today. But if you want to watch and wait, you should stay alert and pay close attention to everything around you. This is the best advice I can give, so you should heed it. You and Flavius have discovered something really incredible and rather uncommon for our world. You have my gratitude. Thank you for telling me. And I must think it over for now. What I would like to know is what exactly is luring the Mantides into these desolate halls. Perhaps it is the artifacts belonging to Eli. These artifacts have the ability to make the Immortals more powerful. If you want to know more about them, then just ask Asterius. He studied them at some point, which is no secret. If you'd like, you can also ask me. And not just about the artifacts. Of course, I remember every single event that Asterius describes in his chronicles. I participated in some, and a few wouldn't have happened had I not been present. Well then, I'm sure you will be able to figure it all out. It's rather hard to say. So many years have passed, I can barely remember. I'm joking. But that's where I have one up on the old rascal. They don't call me the oldest immortal on Aelion for this magnificent beard, you know. Well, not just for this beard. No, I did not meet Eli, and it's still hard for me to come to terms with it. We all appeared too late for that to happen. In the end, perhaps that was his plan all along. Yes, immortals existed before, and even in Eli's times. There is evidence of that in the legends and the ancient texts. Of course, there were far fewer of them back then. Not many remember them, as their deeds were overshadowed by the accomplishments of Eli. But even the greatest of the gods back then needed allies that he or she could rely upon. That I cannot tell you, unfortunately. No one knows where they are or what happened to them. The circumstances surrounding what may have occurred, it is one of the many mysteries of our world. Alas, I'd give up a lot for the chance to be able to speak with one of them. We are under the impression that there were two. The first one happened before Eli's coming into existence. The consequences were dreadful. Magic had nearly disappeared from our world. The disappearance of Eli. One of the greatest shocks that Aelion has ever had to endure. The loss of magic wasn't the people's fault. Rather, Aelion itself seemed to lose its magical potential. It used to be that on the planet, magic flowed around it. It was like a rushing river, but now all that remains is a pathetic little trickle. Only the most talented individuals on Aelion can use magic these days. What used to be child's play has become a tremendous challenge, even for the most skilled adepts who have undergone a lot of training. But every dark cloud has a silver lining somewhere. And that is that magic gave way to science. Yes, let us get to work.
Woke up. It's a good opportunity to speak with him.
The province of Tisiphone is no longer in danger. You may not be a god yet, but word of you and your feats are spreading fast.